Greetings and welcome to step 4 of our Awakening in 30 Steps. Today's reflection is on Evoke, the mentor, and the jewel tree refuge. So I hope by now you have begun to feel or sense the flow or cadence of our steps and sequence of the Lamrim. I liken it a little bit to a asana or yoga posture sequence where we are building on poses and deepening our practice as we go along. And one little recommendation I can make to those of you that are a little more eager is to really begin to memorize each of the poses, the mental poses. And before you hit, for example, play on the next installment, see if you can just sit down and rehearse in your mind the prior steps before hitting play. And then that way, every episode, if you will, you'll be memorizing each of the prior steps. And then when we get to the 30th step, you would have had the internalized memory of the prior 29 steps of the Lamrim. Just a little suggestion. So let's do that now really quick together. The first step is to create a sacred space. The second step is to set up an altar and make offerings. The third step is to prepare the body and mind with posture and motivation. And now we are at the fourth step, which is to evoke or call the mentor and to relate to the jewel tree refuge or the lineage. So let me just offer some few comments on the mentor and the jewel tree refuge. So the idea with the mentor is that our relationship with other human beings is the most expedient way we learn. Put it in a nutshell, our brains over evolution as social creatures and mammals learns best through mimicking and seeing and relating to older caregivers and basically downloading from them all that we need to learn. As I call it, the evolutionary software is very, very flexible and updated. I like to say that, little turtles and amphibians and reptiles, like they get the oldest software and they're good to go. They break out of their shell and they head right to water. They don't need mom and dad around, but mammals with big brains have a longer period of dependency. And that dependency means that they're very vulnerable, but on the other hand, they can learn the latest software. They download the latest software through proximity with their parents and through mimicry. So the idea in our visualization practice, because remember stages 1 through 6 are about our meditation practice, find a sacred space, set up an altar and make offerings, adjust your posture and motivation. Now sit down and see the mentor and the entire jewel tree refuge. That mentor is your visualized guru from the point of view of the tradition. So if that is Tara, or if that is Lama Tsongkhapa, or if that is the Buddha, that's your mentor archetype figure. Now, of course, whatever tradition you're coming from and whomever you want to place there becomes your mentor. You want to put the Dalai Lama there. You want to put Geshe Tenzin Zopa there. You want to put your yoga teacher there. You want to put Krishna there. You want to put this saint or that saint there. Whomever is the one whom you'd like to be to relate to as your mentor. And another way of saying that is, who is the one you want to become? Remember from the prior post, what we put in front of our minds, we become. Another way of saying that is, what we focus on, we become. So choose someone with very admirable qualities that you hope to cultivate through your practice. You see them there, you call them with your heart, with a pure heart, call your mentor to join you in the practice. And then you see them not solo, but you see them flanked in the embrace of a magnificent jewel tree. Now, of course, this jewel tree is actually in the texts. It's in the sadhanas, the practice texts. But really, we're using the term jewel tree as really spelled out by Bob Thurman, our teacher. Professor Bob Thurman has a beautiful book, which I highly recommend, the jewel tree. And so that's why we're using that terminology. The jewel tree is a really beautiful symbol Of course, we know the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree to gain enlightenment, but I think if you look in all spiritual traditions and cultures, the tree is a very, very powerful symbol. In one way, it connects earth and heaven. In another way, it is emblematic of the highway system of the central nervous system, or the chakras, the central channel. It's a central axis that relays information. So I liken it to an uplink. The jewel tree is an uplink so that you can download the blessings and inspiration of your guru. So there is your guru. You call your guru. There they are in whatever form they take. And they are situated in a gorgeous tree which connects heaven and earth and is a relay system for their nectar blessings to drop into your crown. And if you like, and I really strongly recommend it, they don't have to be a solo figure. They can be flanked by all saints and sages of all traditions, so that there's an immense cacophony of beautiful, inspiring figures surrounding you and applauding you, and so happy that you're on the journey of the path of stages to enlightenment. And and that's really important. I think that serves a couple of functions, this part of the visualization. First and foremost, you're going to be relating in the next few steps and stages. You're going to be relating very intimately with your central figure archetype. And in another kind of powerful statement of refuge, the fact that we can transform our ordinary experience into a safe haven. The jewel tree sanctuary, I call it, is really a harbor or safe haven for our visualization. So do imagine just letting the world, yourself, the ordinary appearances dissolve. You're in your sacred space. You've set up an altar. You've made offerings. Maybe you read a text. Maybe you read the 14 verses of the 3 principal paths from gradual awakening, which comes from Lama Tsongkhapa and distills all these stages. Maybe you read the Heart Sutra. Maybe you read Hatha Yoga Pratipaka, a chapter from the Bhagavad Gita, whatever inspires you. And you're sitting down nicely. You adjust your posture. You adjust your motivation. Then you let your ordinary sense of yourself in the world dissolve into emptiness, into the abyss, into the primal luminosity. And then you re-emerge, very spacious, light, in what I call a hologram body. You can think about Obi-Wan Kenobi's hologram body. And then you call the mentor to arrive in a similar body made of light. So it may be Lama Tsongkhapa for me. It's Lama Tsongkhapa, but it's also my felt sense of Geshe Tenzin Zopa in the Lama Tsongkhapa disguise. Whoever it is for you, you call them in the light body. They are flanked and surrounded by all living beings, and they're inhabiting this beautiful jewel tree refuge. And for that moment, what we are cultivating is a very, very powerful alternative universe. Really, that's what it is. The mind is that powerful. We can create universes onto itself. And then people start to, get a little critical, and they'll say, oh, well, that's a fantasy. And the Buddhists just turn around and say, well, the thing that you're calling ordinary reality is similarly just a really bad fantasy. It is just as ephemeral, although it appears to our brains and minds as much more concrete, but it is just a fabrication. We are agreeing in a consensus way to a fabrication and then forgetting that we're creating it. So why not create something more sublime so that we feel safe and uplifted and surrounded by as much positivity? And this is why they call it the refuge field or the merit field. And if you think about a field is filled with trees, and the trees drop seeds, and the seeds ripen. And so the analogy is a very beautiful one, because the jewel tree refuge or the jewel tree merit field are the host of angelic beings with whom we create tremendous positive energy together. It is through our relationship with them that we create tremendous positive energy, merit. And so that is really the reflection for today. Who is your central figure, your mentor, whom you want to become? Can you see and really appreciate the symbolism of the tree, especially in the environmental crisis that we're in right now, the life-giving symbolism of the tree, the green, beautiful trees, and then the power of relating to a cacophony of angels in our visualized safe haven in order to uplift us and protect our minds as we incubate Buddhahood. So that's the reflection. And so as far as translating this point to social media use, I mean, this is a very, very subtle one. Like, who are you following? Who are the main inspirations that you're following? What are they teaching you? And what are you, in a way, allowing your mind to unfold or evolve in what direction? And are you is social media a safe haven for you? And what are you incubating on social media? Those are choices that we can now really pay attention to. So step number 4, evoke the mentor and the jewel tree refuge. All best wishes.